Yo, yo, yo. What is up? What is up, guys? All right. Yeah, this is going to be more of a quick video. Just want to go over the thoughts here on the split and just following up on earnings because that's where we really had to wait towards the end of earnings to figure out what this delay, why things were delayed, and why the court was going to implement this. And I've kind of already came up with some theories, so we're going to talk about them. We're going to talk about them. All right, so first thing is first. What's up? What up, Wesley, Zach, Liana, CFast Stupid, Alex, AMC Ape, Plastic, Starfish, what's up? ML, DM, Champagne Poppy, what's up? All right, let's see what we got. So here is the events that took place. On top, we have GREE, Gree, used to be SPRT, sport.com. This was a pretty big stock in the meme community. Reddit, it was a mini squeeze stock. A lot of hype on this around the same time that AMC went up, a little bit after. So you can see here we have similar events taking place. So I tried really showing, I want to show you guys how the chart looks and why it's structured the same way. It is a little different, but it's because things didn't happen the same way that we're seeing with AMC, right? AMC had Ape come before, right? On Gree, we have a merger happening after the matter here, but the way in which things took place, because this was a split as well, Gree did split, so there it was a pretty drastic push. Now, this was something that we looked at back here, right? This was a 150-day cycle, so it was 5 cycles that took place here. So 5 cycles if you're just counting the 31-day instead of counting the 62. So here we have a vote take place on August 12th. You can see that the price goes up, creates this sort of flag setup pennant. Wyckofians are going to call this SOS. Okay, and then you have this massive push to the upside, right? This lines up with March 14th, which is our vote. And now that we have this delay, right? All of a sudden we have this delay. So Adam here, Adam is trying to break the cycle, but unfortunately fails to do so, right? Because we know that the cycle, okay, it's very specific with the points of interest that take place. So here, we don't have, the next cycle does not happen till early April. So you can see here, things don't have to happen the same exact way. This doesn't have to keep following all the way through. We have this right here. This is the next volatility zone in the cycle. Okay, so meaning that is where we look at the price action for any potential volatility. That is just what we're tracking. We're not tracking anything before. So prior to this, I had talked about a couple of things. So I mentioned that with this split taking place in March, which is no longer a thing. We're voting for it, but it's not taking place in March. Unless something changes, right? Like the vote, just the court rules it out or something, and then, the cycle goes through, breaks right around the middle of March. But that's not the case right now. That's not what the information we have. So we're going based on the information we have right now. Unless that changes, it's going to disrupt other things and change the structure of the cycle. But again, the vote is going to take place here regardless, that we know of. And there's two factors we have to consider here. One, if the vote is yes, then obviously the split is going to take place. APE is going to come back and merge with AMC. What's more likely to happen? It's likely that the vote will be yes. I think the majority of shareholders are leaning towards voting yes. That's just what it seems like. It doesn't have to happen that way. In order for this to be at play, though, that scenario has to be the more likely scenario to play out. If it's a no, this is going to change the overall outcome of what can potentially happen here. Now, I'm very indifferent about this vote. I'm not going to tell anybody to vote yes or no. That's not my place to do that. You let the shareholders do what they got to do, and then based on that vote, I can tell you what my thoughts are based on what I've seen before with other stocks in the market. Okay? Okay, so here are a couple of, and I'll talk about what this is going to do for AMC in the long term. Okay, but say that we get a yes on the 14th, price goes up because people are, that's a catalyst that we could potentially experience here right around the middle of the cycle, and that is the red portion. So if we start seeing the price go up, okay, that's going to be a good sign. Things are turning around. We are developing a change in direction here. We're starting to be bullish on the market. I think the overall market's going to come back up if we do something like this. Okay, crypto markets, overall markets are going to go back up. I'll talk about that in a little bit. Okay, so that is step one. Okay, step two, what happens after that? Now we have to wait. The only other way this wouldn't happen is if the court rules the split to be earlier. It really depends on that part of things, which we still don't know. We still don't have enough information on that. If it does happen when the court wants it to take place, which is end of April, that is when the split would take place, not when the price action, according to these events, would go up. Those are two very different things. Okay, the split normally will happen after the run has already taken place, because that's when these shorts just release everything and basically bring the price up to a very large range because of that reverse split that's taking place. Normally, reverse splits aren't bullish. That's just my opinion. Again, anybody could have their thoughts on what they think about reverse splits. But regardless of what AMC if AMC rallies and squeezes here, in my opinion, I think this would be it. This would be the last time we would see a major squeeze on AMC. And this would be the time for it to happen because of these events, right? The split events. So everything has to play out in this way. Otherwise, we don't have. And I was doing this analysis here today and came across this. That's why I'm sharing this. I think it's very important. But again, the only reason why I don't believe that reverse splits are a bullish thing in the long term, well, for a couple of reasons. So we know that price action here, reverse splits are typically done for a couple of reasons. One of them being, if you want to change if you think your company's price levels or points are lower and you want to raise that so that it looks more attractive, you can have two different ways to view this. Personally, I think that reverse splits just give a little bit more opportunity, I think, for shorts to pile back in. Now, yes, it does make it harder for shorts to short the stock in a sense because the outstanding shares do go down, right? That's the positive side of things, is that now it might be a little bit harder to short the stock because of the amount of outstanding shares that are available. So that's another strategy that could be used and could work against the shorts here, saying that all plays out under the right circumstances, right? But other than that, us coming up to a certain range, say that AMC goes to 40 or something, and then it reverse splits to 400. Think about that for a second. $400 versus where AMC is at right now, which is $6. Say it goes to 40. That's not my prediction. I want to make that clear. But if it goes there, $40, and then reverse splits times 10 goes to 400, it just, that price point does not become attractive to your average retail trader. They would rather buy the stock when it's trading in single digits than they would at the $400 range. That's just like a psychological thing for these guys. So again, I don't know what the overall goal is as far as that goes. Maybe there's a bigger reason they're doing this that could, beyond that level, really do some damage here to the shorts. Sure. But what I've seen before, again, if you guys pull up support.com, which is Gree now, you're going to see the same thing. Here's the split, okay, with the merger. September 15th, 2021. And then here's where we had the vote, right? So the vote takes place, price rallies, gets dumped again, then goes. Okay. Look what happened. This is the adjustment. Remember that. This is with the adjustment. So why is the price trading at $500? Because of the adjustment, right? Support.com was not trading at $500 when this happened. It was well under the $20 range. I think it went from like 20 to like 80 or something, if I'm not mistaken. Then the split takes place. Then you have this macro adjustment on the chart, and it looks like this. So we're going to see something very similar to GameStop in that, well, GameStop didn't have a split when it had the mini squeeze, right? It didn't have a split. It goes from $4 to 500, and then it had an actual split way later in the game recently, and then that cut the price down for GameStop. It almost did it in a, I don't want to get too much into that because I think there was also a strategy with the GameStop split that didn't necessarily favor either side. It was kind of neutral. I think it allows more retail to come in once the price level is lower, but it didn't even come into single digits. So it doesn't really become attractive yet to the retail trader. And retail trader is going to have, it's going to be a lot more attractive in this range. Right? We're starting to see a lot more volume picking up here on AMC. So just my thoughts, man. Like, look at the way things happened here. You can see that the price action is very similar. Let's pull up AMC plus 8. It's going to look a little bit better. And we're going to clone this. So I can show you guys here. These are the first levels we're looking at here. This is the overall, the M-shape pattern we talked about here on AMC, and we don't have to be here per se in this little sequence we're looking at for Gree. Things are not going to happen one-to-one, okay? But the fact that we have a similar structure of a pattern, and things played out pretty much the same way, about a month apart from each other. Vote August 12th, 2021, split a month later. Same thing here. We have a vote March 14th. It's not a coincidence that now we have a delay, and that delay will not take place for another month. Okay? It doesn't have to happen at the end of April, but it could happen in the middle of April or something like that if the court rules or decides not to go through with their plan. Some catalyst comes out in April or something, mid-April, and the price already starts to surge, right? It starts to go up. So, yeah, man, crazy stuff. Yeah, we are coming back to this. We talked about this I believe in August. Okay, so I think it's been one cycle, and then that cycle was inverse. We go down. Now we're making this macro cup. You can really look at this in, a couple different ways to look at this, but it's pretty bullish, man. Yeah, I'm curious. I'm curious what people are gonna vote. Here, let's do a little poll. Let's see. Vote. I'm just gonna ask. I want to see what the majority are leaning towards, yes or no. Okay, and then I'm going to talk about the vote a little bit. I'm not going to, again, this is not to persuade anybody to do anything, because at the end of the day, you got to do what you got to do, man. And I'm not going to tell you what I'm voting, because I don't think it's fair to do that. I think it's fair to pick at both sides, because I think that's, it's just like doing analysis, but now we're talking more on the fundamental side and why this right here in the short term could affect the outcome of what we've seen happen before with AMC and the cycle, and why certain things happen the way they do. So to start with this, we go back to Ape, right? What happened with Ape? Well, with Ape, we had a option chain wipeout. What that means is the calls and puts outside of the money, those took the biggest hit because there was a lack of demand now for the non-standard options, which means no one's going to buy them. And then what happened? They implemented a new option chain. That new option chain now is just the standard contracts. People are buying those. They're not buying AMC plus Ape contracts. That's one thing. I don't know what the incentive was with the administration approving this and knowingly doing this, wiping off the option chain. That's one thing, okay? You have to consider that with this, a vote yes means that we're going to have a new option chain. Now we're going to have two standard options until the Ape ones go away, which means there's going to be 3 options in the option chain, 3 different ones. There's going to be 2 that are non-standard, and there's going to be 1 that's going to be standard. Okay, this one will come about, I think, about a day later, or maybe the day of, once it takes place. These are the ones that people are going to buy. These, they're just going to lack liquidity. Not saying they can't be filled, but it's going to be extremely hard. You've seen this happen. I saw this. I was a victim of this when the GRE thing took place. Just to put that out there. And ever since that, that's one of the things I pushed out here in August. I was very careful with that, and I had mentioned, be careful with these options because they do lack liquidity. If they're not in the money, you can't exercise them, and then it's a lot harder for them to be it's just a lot harder for them to be sold. So, options are very, very important and risky. That's one, right? A vote yes would create a new option. And then it potentially might get rid of the ape contracts once those do expire, which we have to look to see where the last option for AMC and ape expire. Okay, now a vote, that's one thing. The next thing a vote yes would do is, again, create this extremely high price point for AMC, and we would have AMC trading in probably the hundreds. That's just based on where the price action will go into that. So let's say AMC goes to 12. Well, now we're going to see that 120 range converted back to ape as well. On the bright side, yes, we would have AMC as one whole stock, right? We don't have to worry about ape floating around, having to worry about doing analysis on ape differently, and really just that whole thing has been a mess, honestly. I didn't like that from the start, having to see AMC split the way it did. Half of AMC was floating around somewhere else. So I think the structure would be nice to just have one back together. Why it's bullish, as we've seen, is that normally before a reverse split, you will see that bullish pressure, and that's what we talked about with these other stocks, GREE and Metamaterials, both at the same thing. So I think in the short term, a vote yes would do something like that. The chances of something like that happening would be a lot greater than if the vote was no, right? Now, yeah, there's a bit of controversy, and there was a question that came up. Why not just have ape merge back with AMC without doing the split? And then Adam had just mentioned that, well, he does think that the price being at single digits, that he's not comfortable with that, and that he would much rather have a higher price point again. And then with the outstanding shares having less, can sometimes combat. He didn't say this about the shorts, but I think a lot of companies also look into that part of things, and it could help in the end. I'm not going to get too much into that, but that is basically what a reverse split, what the outcome of a reverse split is going to do. Now to the no side, we've talked about the yes. Now go back to the no. So for a no on the vote, the thing about having a no on the vote is pretty simple. We're just not going to nothing's going to change. Now, the unfortunate part of the no vote is that, well, nothing's going to happen. So ape is going to keep floating around where it's at. The AMC is going to not split and remain where it's at, right? I think with a no, what would happen is, I think the way I'm just going to explain this is basically the spring that we have right now on AMC, and this is the analogy, right, of what has been going on with AMC's chart. So the spring is just a tightening, a narrowing of the stock. This is a spring. With a no, because things will not be, we will not have some kind of reverse split or a conversion with ape, I think this would narrow down even more, and we would, until they could not short this thing anymore, and it would just pop, right? So with a no, I think we're going to get a very narrow spring that will pop sometime this year, and it will be a pretty massive pop that could be very explosive, just because now you don't really have a catalyst to back this up and play around with, right? They're creating a catalyst here, the reverse split, to release the shares and make this thing pop. But because we don't have a confirmation of this yet, can't happen, why we need to wait and see what the vote is going to be. I think this is what a no is going to do. A no is going to narrow it down, delay things a little bit more, and then have a pretty massive pop once the price comes in the lower range of 5 and trade sideways for a little bit. Not saying things can't pop, with a no, but I think it would delay things a little bit. And yeah, we wouldn't have to deal with the high price point of AMC being at the one, really, really crazy price levels. Also, a no will keep the option chain as it is, and we won't have to worry about a new option chain added to a third option, non-standard options added to the chain, which is also, in my opinion, a good thing. I don't think adding more options is just going to keep clearing these derivatives of over leveraged positions using these and basically wiping them away is the thing that the yes is doing. Right, so they both have yes and no, both have pros and both have cons. Why I'm very neutral about the situation is because I think regardless of what happens, AMC will go up, and it's just a matter of when and what the incentive is behind the administration, Adam, and the shorts. It really comes down to that, man. It's not that complicated. We just have to wait and see what this vote is going to be, and that's going to tell us a lot. But I've already went over what my thoughts are if the vote were to be yes, how the price would move based on other stocks we've seen in the market, and that is what I'm going to go based off of here. Pull it back up again. Here we go. And that is, for those that are coming in late, this is the little map, little blueprints here. Yeah, let's see. Vote. Okay, so okay, so we got 31% no and then 69% yes. See, so like this is the thing, and I never this isn't meant to influence or create any kind of. We did this with the earnings as well. Like if people are bullish, bearish, or neutral, or IV crush, whatever. Like it's just curious here. It's 142 votes. This is not data that is very skewed data, because remember, like part of you guys in the channel is you're coming in here because you have some interest in what the cycle world is doing, which is very different from the fundamental side and very different from just looking at regular TA. So that's why this data is skewed. And again, I'm not going to get into that, but so we do have the 70-30. If I've already said my thoughts on what I think is going to happen on the vote, but I'm not taking a position on that. I'm just giving the good and the bad on each side and telling you what I think is going to happen based on each outcome. And what we have right now is a potential yes if things do play out and there is a yes on the vote. These are my thoughts on what I think the price is going to do based on the cycle, based on what we've seen happen before on the cycle. So yeah, another thing on why we know that with the cycle, we're normally molded to what the overall markets are doing. So why I always look at the overall market. I always go back and look at what the SPY is doing, because if I'm not looking at the overall market and I'm just coming back to AMC trying to guess what the price is going to do, that's the wrong way to do it. You need to know what the overall markets are doing, especially the indexes, right? And this is going to tell us a lot. Crypto is going to tell us a lot. One of the things that I've already said about the SPY, okay? we've been tracking this specific pattern here for almost 3 months now, okay? So this move that you're looking at right here has been entirely predicted by the pattern scanner that we have, which called and pulled up this pattern that happened in the past. I think it was like 2018. Right now we're seeing it complete the sequence. It came back down, touched 391, and now it keeps pushing up. There's probably going to be a little bit of resistance here. It's going to trade sideways and then start pushing back up. That's what it's calling for here. We're in a parallel channel, okay? If this were to continue to go back up, what does that mean for AMC? Well, again, I'm going to pull this up every single time because this is literally what happens every single time. What happens when AMC peaks? The market goes down every time, okay? So if we're expected to climb back up, touch the top of this parallel channel when? Around April, okay? Mid-April time. So if mid-April time, things are projected to come back up and reach that 330 level of resistance for SPY, that'll probably be a breather time for the market, which means AMC will probably go down as well. Why the events are lining up here for that is because that is the next POI here in the cycle. It's going to be right in the middle of April. And if the split takes place towards the end of April, it would make sense to rally the price early April, going into mid-April, and then the market comes down as well. So that is what I have here. It's like when I do these comparisons with the overall markets, I'm looking at what my projections are already for the overall market and then compare that to the current projections I have for AMC and everything else. It has to come together like a puzzle, man. Otherwise, it's invalid, and we want to validate things as much as we can. Because, well, yeah, things are going to go with each other, and they're going to trade against each other. Like, I mean, that's just the way the markets work. Okay, same with crypto. But yeah, no, we're going to, again, I'm not trying to make this video long. I wanted to make it very, very quick, talk about the split and what my thoughts are here. So, with that being said, let's go take a break. All right, let's go take a break. And yeah, you guys come in. Also, I don't do this much, but if you guys want to see other plays and everything else that I'm doing as far as like figuring this shit out, I do with the entire market. Earlier today, I pulled up a little video, not a video, but just a little projection or projections I've made in the past on what I do and some of the points of interest that I track in the market. For example, this right here is Apple, right? So this projection I made in January 3rd, on January 3rd, right? Press play on this guy, and we have AMC. This is Apple. Apple, yeah, and this is private. Why? Nobody can really see it because it's on the Discord. But you can see Apple's price coming up to that 160. It just did this today. It hasn't updated because this is the daily chart. But these charts I provide every single Sunday on the Discord. It's not only plays and crypto plays. It's also charts. So there's charts, there's trading view indicators, and the most recent update is a pattern scanner. The pattern scanner is what I use to find the SPY fractal right here that you're looking at. So that one is the newest edition. Yes, it's a beta. It won't be there forever. It's just a beta. At some point, that will be a software that we will launch and put out. A lot of work has been put into that. So, yeah, we're excited to have that out, but it is in beta mode right now. So if you want to give it a try, make sure you guys click on that Discord link below and join up, man. Alrighty, guys. I will see ya at some point this week. Hope you liked this video. If you did, make sure you hit that like button. Also, subscribe. if you haven't already. Like, what are you doing, bro? Awesome, guys. See you next time. Bye-bye.